Welcome, seekers and visionaries, to Oracle Mountain Chats. Here on this sacred virtual peak, we gather, a space for oracles to share their wisdom, their visions, and their craft. It all began with a calling I could not ignore. One day, within a vision, I held this conch shell in my hands, and as I blew its resonant note into the world, I felt its vibration ripple across unseen realms. It was a summons, a signal to fellow oracles scattered near and far. I saw that we were on a mountain, vast and towering, reaching into the heavens. At its base, the world buzzed with life, people moving, creating, searching. Yet at the summit, there was stillness, clarity, and a circle of light. There, oracles stood, their gaze focused both outward and inward. They spoke of the energies they felt, the shifts they saw, and the whispers of the unseen. They weren't above the world, they were its witnesses and its guides. From this vision, OracleFest was born, a celebration of connection, insight, and the timeless wisdom that flows through us all. Here we gather as oracles to share the visions Spirit whispers to us, to speak of the energy currents flowing through nature and humanity, and to help guide those who seek answers in a world that often feels lost. So grab a seat, breathe in the mountain air, and join us as we begin today's chat. Whether it's an energy reading, a conversation about our craft, our path, or simply sharing a perspective on the world below, this is where we wait for more oracles to join us on the mountain. What wisdom will the mountain bring us today? Let's find out together. Step into this sacred space where the wisdom of the ages converges with the questions of the present. Officially welcome back to Oracle Mountain. And I am so pleased. It's getting to be a good season over here at OracleFest because I'm getting more repeat OracleFest speakers on these Oracle Mountain chats as we are getting closer to the big January OracleFest end of January. So it'll be January 30th to February 1st with some activities before and after. So this year we're making it 3, maybe 4 kind of days fully. And Michelle Motuzas, our guest today on the mountain, she was at the first Oracle Mountain event, Oracle Fest, the big one last year. And she will be in the transformation podium, which is this November 1st. So welcome, Michelle. Welcome back.
Oh, I'm so glad to be here. I love spending time with you.
I also like spending time with you. I actually like spending time with all of our Oracle Fest speakers, but I have to say, you, Michelle, are one of the more special ones because I've personally used your decks for so long as well. And so it's nice to meet new friends, but it almost feels like you're an older friend because I've had so much connection to and resonance with your words, which I feel like must feel strange. That must be what actors sometimes feel like when people are like, I know you because of this movie and it made such an impact on me.
I do. I have people all the time reach out to me and like, "Hey, how are you doing today?" Like, I'm great. Oh, okay. I had a dream about you and I thought you were in trouble. I'm
Oh,
good, but tell me about your dream. That's interesting to me.
I was talking about that.
Yeah. No, I'm
Yeah, sorry,
oh good.
it's my internet. But I was talking about that with someone recently, that like when we show up in people's dreams, I think that's like a quite positive thing. I'm quite okay with the frequency that I show up in other people's dreams, but sometimes it still is unsettling the amount. I think the amount probably that you or I might show up in someone's dreams is more than the typical or average person hears about as well. Like maybe just people always tell us and they wouldn't tell every person in their lives. But they might tell us about
Mm,
because we're actually, I am actually interested. I'm going to ask the follow-up question. Well, what happened?
right. And also, I love dreams. I've never been afraid of my dreams. I always look forward to going to sleep because it's like, ooh, what am I going to learn tonight? Or what's my subconscious or my guides or spirit going to show me or tell me? So the fact that I represent something important enough to show up in their dreams, because I truly believe most dreams, every character is an aspect of you.
Hmm.
If it's, not like a visit from like someone who's passed.
Yeah.
So that I represent something, I'm honored. I mean, I am can't think of my words, but I am honored and
It's a little
humbled
humbling. Yeah, it
that
is. It is
I
humbling. Sometimes it's like a way nicer version of you and a way glossier. Like sometimes I will show like I'm giving some angelic wise message. I'm like, wow, I really wish like, Kate on Earth was that great. That sounds amazing.
right? I said that? That's amazing. Wow, I'm better than I thought. I know.
Version, yeah.
I know a friend of mine a few weeks ago, or maybe a few months ago, we were kind of struggling with the same themes. And she said, I had a dream about you that you killed people. I'm like, I killed people? Tell me more. And she said, like, we were together and we were leaving someplace, but I said, wait a minute, I have to go back. And I got a gun out of nowhere, I guess, and like went and shot some people. I'm like, that's amazing. Did I enjoy it or did I not want to do it? And she's like, I couldn't tell. But then we talked about it and it back to the same themes we were struggling with in our waking life. We were both struggling with letting go of certain beliefs, aspects, people, situations. So I was like, I'm just gonna get rid of them. I'm just gonna kill them. And I love dreams. Talk
That's
about dreams for hours.
Yeah, me too. I mean, the first program that I ever taught online was actually a dreaming course because that was
Mhm.
where psychic intuition had opened up for me a lot when I was young. Then I realized, oh, I was kind of taking it for granted. It is so special, and I have had a connection to dreams for so long. I was often seeing predictive dreams or like profound dreams that were leaving an impact, that were
Yeah,
shaking loose or sending some sort of very powerful image that would sit with me and continue to resonate with me. And that a lot of people do, they sort of they neglect to like recognize the importance of their dreams, and then it sort of shifts in your mind forgets that it wants to know those things. And
right.
people say, oh, I never remember my dreams. Well, we have to actually choose to try. Otherwise, your brain doesn't think that it has any value in keeping that. So, yeah, I was always fascinated in trying to like help people remember their dreams more and get more out of them.
I always say it's like a muscle memory. You
Is
have to practice. You have to keep that notebook by your bed. And even if it's just a few scribbled lines, like, so I don't know if I told you this story. I had a relationship end at the end of last year, and I was just getting out of it. I was struggling. I had to move. And then I was going through stuff because I can tend to be a pack rat. So I'm like, I can't be carrying around all this stuff. So I was going through notebooks and I could have a notebook and it will have a drawing and then it'll have a grocery list and then it'll have a to-do list and then it'll have like channeling from spirit, like 4 pages. So I was going through every page and I found where I had written very briefly about a dream in 2019 because I dated it. And it said, like, a marriage would be ending. I would meet a soulmate that we were also in a parallel life. And at the same time, the government would be trying to bring back the 1950s gender roles. Like, I don't know why that was important enough to me in 2019 to put down with that dream. But I'm like, oh, okay. And I don't have any memory of having that dream, but I guess in June 2019 I did. So,
and here we are.
ah, funny.
Wow. Oh my God. I feel like so much can be said on that, and also so much has
Shouldn't.
right shouldn't like ought
Yeah.
not to be spent any more time with than it's already given.
And
I am so with you though. That's so fascinating. And I find the same thing as well. I'll have even like a memory of a dream that I had forgotten about, but that I
yeah,
remember years ago had happened will come back to me, or memories from the past will come back to me that are for exactly what I'm dealing with now, but
right.
me of, and like so fascinating. And people, we were just talking about this actually, of like stand-ins, somehow like if all the other people in your dream are like a part of you, sometimes we have stand-ins as like, oh, we're relating to that person and it's
Yeah.
just someone else completely. And I'll often be that person too. It's like, oh, you were in my dream but this was happening. I'm like, that sounds like something to do with your life and nothing to do with mine. But I'm a
It is. And I think dreams are a powerful way to work with your shadow side
Yes.
because it is a projection and it is a gentle way for spirit, higher self, subconscious to put things like you talked about, your intuition had started to wake up. That's a gentle way. And then if you don't listen to that, then then maybe you start hearing voices or you start seeing things or start physically getting ill because you're not paying attention to the whispers.
This is also very fascinating because when I was teaching dreaming, there were multiple people who had sleep paralysis. And I thought,
Mm,
well, sleep paralysis is like, to me, the more I got to know them and see what was going on in their lives, because I like working in that kind of like intensive way, you're really understanding
mm,
more about the whole person. And over time, because you're not just doing a one-off session, you're actually seeing like patterns as they
yeah.
much better. And there were patterns of all the people who dealt with sleep paralysis of having genuine fears in their life that they were not facing. And so I
Hmm.
thought, well, what a rude way, not very gentle, but very helpful move for our subconscious to physically shake us awake in the middle of the night, keeping us frozen in fear, almost to be
Yeah.
like, that's as bad as it's going to get. Like, this
Right.
is as scary as we can try to make it for you. And is that good enough yet? Like, are you scared? Are you going to make a move? And as they started dealing with things in their lives, like the sleep paralysis, symptoms really died down. Some of them were getting disturbed on like an every night or every other night basis. It was like a constant, battle, which is maybe why they eventually me. They're like, please help. Maybe
Yeah.
we don't even know what it is anymore. But it's these answers I think that dreams are so good at giving us. It is all like subconscious exposition, excavation, maybe.
So, and I don't think we expected this talk to be about dreams, but I had a dream the other night that a woman I work with right now had given me a baggie filled with toothpaste, toothbrush, floss, and then told me to go somewhere. And I had to put on these pants, and they were red leather pants. And I looked at them in my dream. I looked at them like, I don't wear red leather pants. Like, no. But I put them on, and I was like, oh, these look good. These feel good. And I woke up and I went, wow, that was really interesting. Does does Sue think I have bad breath? Like, do I need to like up my oral hygiene? But then I did some research and your mouth, it's how you speak, it's how you present yourself. And the red leather pants are confidence.
Mhm.
So and everything that's going on in my life, I am being pushed to be out there more and speak more and reach down and get my confidence and stop fighting the, oh, I want to be hidden. I'll do things from behind the scenes type of thing. And I went, oh, that was really cool.
I love that. I love that so much. I've been recently changing my wardrobe, so this is also a very
Mhm.
similar theme. Again, didn't think I was going to be talking about this either
I
today.
know.
We let these conversations go where they need to go because
Yeah.
it's there's more gems that way anyway, I think. And I really, side note, I do believe part of the Oracle Fest mission is having people actually be more approachable and accessible so that
Mhm.
spirituality doesn't have to feel like it's like this thing on the shelf that only certain people can grab or take. And that's a big part of
Yeah.
why we have less formal Oracle Mountain chats. It's on purpose. But I have been changing my wardrobe up recently. I've been blessed to get access to a bunch of clothes that are just like not being used, this fast fashion craze and getting tossed and all these things. And
Yeah.
yeah, and so I'm helping with clearing out all these bins, and every now and then like a little pieces. And so funny some of the things other people are choosing for me that I wouldn't have chosen for myself.
Right.
But
Yeah.
what they know me as is like, this is so you. And actually spot on. Some things I knew were me. They were like vintage coats or dresses. Oh yeah, I love this vibe, like
Mhm.
some of these kind of old soul, older feeling things. And but there were these like cheetah pants, very popular here in the UK is like leopard and cheetah pants and all
Yeah.
these things. I'm like, I don't think so. I had a red leather pant moment, but it was with these cheetah pants.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I put them on and something just in me said, "Oh yes."
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I really do understand. I think it's so funny. And it's about embracing also being able to be seen, being more visible.
Mhm.
Well, those are going to stand out, aren't they? Oh, you can't hide in cheetah pants. That's
No, you cannot. You're asking to be seen.
exactly.
Exactly. So I really do resonate with that. That's a positive edge of transformation as well, as having these kind of fun dreams that get us like testing out a new feeling or trying on a new outfit or,
Yeah.
in the different ways, whether you get leather pants or cheetah pants or not, you know. Have you
Now,
actually considered getting some?
well, no, but if red leather pants show up in my life, then I will take that as a huge sign from the universe.
Yes, and that's I think
Yeah.
part of this. It is. It's like sort of even if you just like notice them on a certain moment that is like exactly you were having this realization or a thought, and then it always sort of
Right.
steps in. I was talking about this with a client the other day because they see synchronicities a lot. I love
Hmm.
synchronicities. And then there is that next step, which is like, well, and what is the meaning? Like, what is the context? What else is going on there? And I think that's what I would love to try and like help more people understand as well. So hopefully we can touch on this in random
Right.
or fest events and things like that. But this kind of idea of there is something right just beyond getting your pat, you're doing okay from the universe. You saw the numbers, you saw the
Right.
repeating thing.
Aren't special? Yeah.
Totally. We got
Yeah.
that. Now what? Now what is I think the work that we get into and the deeper unfurling of things as we sort of reach into like our patterns and what we're meant to do about them. But there
Mhm.
is the positive side, I think, too, of like synchronicities and then like that extra confirmation of where were you, what were you thinking about, and like what's going on with that.
And I think most of the time it is a push to get you outside of your box.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
people are like, okay, I got my symbol. I'm good exactly where I am. It's like,
Like
no,
right
the
in.
whole purpose is to keep moving, just keep stepping outside the boxes.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was actually just saying this to a really good friend of mine, who we've had a difficult time reaching each other lately. We've been able to
Mm.
text message here and there, but we just have not been able to both settle our lives in such a way where we can sit and have a few hours phone call, which is what we like to do as really good friends. You want a real catch up and
Yeah.
what is going on? We just can't seem to, it's like passing ships in the night and kind of being like, hey, I see you. You're actually really tough, and I'm just not letting everyone in on things. And we're going, oh, okay, as we just sort of pass by. And both of us were sort of saying, I think sometimes you have to actually be in an uncomfortable position and be in that discontent of something in order for a change to happen because you don't actually grow from your comfort zone. And so
Right.
she's in an uncomfortable position because she's been living in a big city for many years and renting and so finally buying a house. And it's a big decision. There's a lot of shifting, there's a lot to do with that. And myself, I'm almost in the opposite because I've been nomadic for a year. And so that's
Hmm.
adjusting into what OracleFest wants for me and what I'm meant to do or who I'm meant to cross by in my life and all these things as well, like shifting internally what I might be looking for from relationship and my relationship with life and how it's
Yeah.
with me as well. And I said, what? Sometimes I have to be a little unsettled and uncomfortable, and because it tells me that actually I'm seeking more and that there's a yearning for more, and so you have to kind of have a bit like rose-colored glasses off for a second, and
Yeah.
see life is looking a little gray. The day is gray today, so I'm seeing that a lot more clearly. Yeah, life looks a little gray. So then, how do you add color? And then we choose the paintbrush as we start adding the color after that. But it's like a part of a natural process, and a lot of people just don't like that feeling of being uncomfortable or discontented for long enough to see what's like coming.
What's underneath it?
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I agree. Our society, our culture, I mean, if you think about it, when you see friends, how are you? Ah, I'm not doing too great. And immediately they try to help
yeah,
because they don't want to see you not feeling great. You don't want to not feel great, but, and we were talking about this before we started recording. I had two deaths in my kind of extended family almost right on top of each other a few weeks ago. And I had been like trudging along, and it just kind of hit a wall. I was helping everybody else, and I was like, no, I'm going forward. I'm moving forward, stepping forward. I'm not going to look at my stuff. And I had a pre-planned weekend away at an island all by myself. So I went and I had my list. I'm going to paint. I'm going to create Oracle, work on the Oracle deck I'm working on. I'm going to do this work and create content and record and blah, 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 blah. And I got there and I couldn't connect to the internet. And I was literally like a fish out of water. I felt like I was flopping around on the dock, like, I don't know what to do. And I had the option of reaching out and getting the Wi-Fi password, but then I realized I felt so uncomfortable that I needed to be uncomfortable. And it took me 3 days to start to feel it, dissipate. And so when they say you have to sit with your feelings, I was sitting with it for 3 days and it was not fun. I was mad because this island is my happy place and I was not happy. I was not having fun. And I felt like it is ruining this place for me. It didn't. But I sat there and ideas came up to me, owls flew down. At one point, there must have been 10 woodpeckers just kind of flitting from tree to tree where I was. I was in the woods. I've never experienced that before. I went and talked to the trees and I had you see the like touch me and then the branches come and you're like, no, get closer. And it did. So I would be talking to the trees every day and it finally allowed, I guess, my brain to stop and for me to really feel what spirit wanted me to feel and hear. Then I have to be honest, I'm in the United States and I have been sacredly raging for the past, I don't know how many months. And I was saying, even sacred rage is sacred. So this is okay. But for me, it wasn't, so I was told I have to kind of step back and hold space because everything will play out and major changes can't happen without major disruption.
Yes.
And then I have to meditate more. I had kind of let that go, journal more. I used to journal all the time. And I had just let everything that connected me to me go. And so getting through that uncomfortableness, I was able to find those gifts and messages on the other side of that. If someone would have said, oh, here's the password, and I would have gotten on and done everything on my list, I never would have gotten to the other side of it and got those wonderful messages.
Absolutely. And it's funny, I was like, wow, I really want an experience like that. Like I need one of those soon. And then I realized, oh, I've been getting that in my
Mhm.
in my little ways here because I had a little tap in me last week saying like you need to sing and you need to dance and it needs to be a commitment. Like your joy is a commitment. You've been faltering,
Yeah.
right? Like you've been letting that slide because other important emotions are rising for us to do something with, right? Like
Yeah.
the rage and like the frustration or the discontentedness by various factors to allow us to like have desire and motivations from that, like for us to
Hmm.
be able to reach forward and to grow. However, like joy can be like with us through like a lot of it if we
Yeah.
allow it. And it is so easy to slip out of the habit of joy for me, because I can just be so enthused by whatever's going on in the whirring of my brain. I'm just so like drawn in, captivated by it. And the singing and the dancing really put me back in the body and in the earth and
Yeah.
of spirit. It's just the same as these moments that I've also received, which like just walking in a forest, just getting my moments. Even
Mhm.
I find on the train because I'm watching all these like scenes go by, and I'm in the Highlands, and so I'm watching these like Highland mountains and these like creeks with the little sheep all dotted by it.
Yeah.
Like it looks so heavenly, as you've
Yeah.
been, and this like real dreamy life is here and existing all the time, and yet like to expect it to be one thing or the other thing at all times is really silly of us, right? And so like I think a lot of people when they're starting out, I just had these OracleFest chats. I didn't tell you about this, Michelle, but I just had
Yeah.
these chats recently, which I was meeting with people from our community, whether they've been to an event yet or they're just seeing the post and wanting
Mhm.
to take part in this upcoming Trusting Your Visions 6-week journey, which will be taking in moments from our past OracleFest events as well and dripping
Mhm.
them in for people to get a glimpse of what things have been like so far. But I was talking to these people, and like 80% of these calls with people are they're just starting out on their journey. And so I've been really trying to rack my brain and go to places where I was like, what was it like starting out on my journey? And where were these
Yeah.
moments? And what was going on for me? And how can I help like Zoom people? And you and I were sort of just getting onto this topic. So maybe it's a topic we could try to demystify a little bit for the audience, which is the idea of collapsing timelines. Because I've also been really
Okay.
thrilled by this
Yeah.
concept recently. I've been thinking a lot about, because we're going into this transformation podium November 1st. The idea of
Mhm.
transformation is changing things. And something that I love is getting a lot out of life. And in order for me to get a lot out of life, life actually has to feel like it's kind of slow. It has to sort of feel like I'm
Mhm.
able to get a lot from it. I'm able to be in it. Otherwise, if I feel like life is passing me by and it's so quick, it feels like I'm not getting enough out of life in some kind of way.
Yeah.
I've been very intentional about that. And that feels like collapsing a timeline in my mind, that I'm changing the way time is perceived in me.
Yeah.
But tell me about collapsing timelines is a bit more about like forward movement as well. So yeah, I'm curious.
So, so my latest deck, the one that was published a few years ago, the Shaman's Way. So, okay, go back to my first deck, the Shamanic Healing deck. It had to do with healing. Clearly, it's in the title. But, looking at your misbeliefs, your thinking process, the stuff you bring from the past, whether it's your past or past life, and healing that. We're all healed anyways, but finding the healed you within that. And then I had a few other decks, and everyone kept on writing to me, actually from all over the world, like, I love this deck. And I saw that so many people got benefits from it. And my mind went, well, then what? What next? And I always believe one of my goals is to live the highest vibrational path we came to live. Every soul, I believe, comes in with lessons to learn, things to do, people to interact with, situations to affect. But you can do it low or you can do it high. So, how do you live the highest vibration? So that's what that deck was created for. But then, reading about quantum physics, which I like to say I'm such an expert on, I know nothing. I know the sound bites. But, you talk about the string theory or parallel lives, where, every choice you make, there are other choices that could have been made or maybe have been made in a different parallel universe. So now it's getting confusing, even in my own brain. But you have all these choices, and the choices don't happen until you pay attention to them. And what you pay attention to is where you are vibrating at the moment. So I went into a meditation and guide spirits, higher self, whatever you want to call it. I asked that they collapse my access to the lower vibrational timelines. So it's the timelines where I am not living an authentic life, where I am not living in abundance, where I am putting others' needs and preferences before my own. It was a pretty extensive list. Almost immediately, I started getting opportunities. People were walking into my lives. Um, opportunities for me to do some. So this isn't even a spiritual basis, but the next day randomly ran into someone who rows. I rowed in college, loved rowing in college, loved it, loved it, loved it. And then you get out of college and life, and it's not a sport you can really, oh, I'm going to play tennis or I'm going to go play golf. It's not an easy sport to get back into. Ran into a woman who rows there's a local masters, which is just old people, rowing club. And she was so enthusiastic and she gave me all her information. And I want to do that. And I realized that's a really high vibration for me to be in, but it was brought to me. I didn't have to go and get it. It was brought to me. So another thing, I just spent last weekend 4 days doing Brimfield here in New Hampshire, Brimfield North, which is antiques and vintage. And I love to thrift and I love to, you know, okay, I don't love to sell it. I love to thrift, but then I have too much stuff, way too much stuff, right? Because I love beautiful things. I love creating a beautiful home. I have a museum background, so I'm like, I tell myself I have an eye. I know what that is.
I'm a curator.
Um, right? And then, oh, I have way too much stuff. Yes, I'll do Burnfield. I did it with a friend, and it was fun, and it was joyful, and it was active, and I enjoyed it. And then, was it Monday? I was kind of putting stuff away, and I went, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. And it wasn't because it was a horrible experience. It was a wonderful experience, but the vibration didn't feel right. And so it kind of left me with ease and grace. It wasn't this, oh, it was horrible, or I have too much stuff and this sucks. Why did I ever do this? It was like I enjoyed it. I love it, but I don't feel like it resonates anymore.
Yeah. And that's
And
done now. And it doesn't have to be terrible or conflict ridden.
right.
Be just done or done its current phase, you know?
So maybe that was a timeline that I was on, but it wasn't the highest timeline for me. So it collapsed. I didn't have access to that energy anymore.
I love that.
So that's what I mean when I say collapsing timelines.
It's a
I'm
good
still
fit.
watching it play out, so I'll probably get more information on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, keep, dropping little tidbits whenever we do these Washington chats or Oracle Fest events, because it's little concepts like this that I think it does take time and experience and a certain level of depth to kind of wrap your head around. But you never know
Mhm.
when someone's going to hear us talking about it, and that's going to be the moment for them that it really
Yeah.
clicks. I love the idea of collapsing timelines for others, right? Because that's like what we're doing a lot of the time is sort of racing headfirst and toppling headfirst sometimes into our own healing so that then at
Mhm.
we go ta-da
Yeah.
and
And
we
people can see it and go, "Oh, that resonates," you know.
yeah,
Or, hopefully if someone goes, "Oh, that sounds horrible," maybe at one point they'll go, "Why does it feel horrible? What
totally,
am I fighting?"
yes,
What's the shadow side that's keeping me from being open to new ideas?
absolutely. I do think that also that maybe needs to be addressed as well, because sometimes I think it happens to me as well where I can be in an experience or see something and it kind of leaves a taste in my mouth that goes like I don't like that
Yeah.
something about this I didn't really vibe with that and I go all right Kate what's got your
Yeah.
next twist right like what is going on here because
Yeah.
that usually is something that's meant to charge us and sometimes we're actually meant to go into spaces because we're a part of the change and so we go
Mhm.
into a space where we're actually like, oh, that's not really what I thought, we were doing here. Well, maybe what you're feeling actually still needs to exist in the world, or maybe it does, and you're meant
Yeah.
to keep pursuing that. And so what I like about the idea of these Oracle Fest events is we're going to have 44, maybe more speakers at this big one.
Oh,
And
wow.
I know, it's so exciting. Oh, hello.
This is Luna.
Hi, Luna. Oh, perfect name.
My attention has been taken over.
I love it. I love it.
There you go. There's her underbelly.
Brief hello. Yeah, just showing us the soft underbelly.
Yeah.
um, yeah, so we're gonna have 44 speakers in this big Oracle Fest in January, and I like the idea that people can just see who they actually kind of resonate with, and then also
Yeah.
see what doesn't quite feel right, because sometimes there is something in that. Is it that that person has a lot of energy? Is it that that person is pursuing something that you were brought up to think is wrong? And actually, there's a part of you that's needing to just release that fear from your own, your own bubble of
Right.
where you've been in and that's totally reasonable. Or maybe you're meant to speak up because you actually really disagree with one way that it's being done. And I think there's room for it, like on Oracle Mountain, in this idea that we're all just sharing ideas and seeing what's like working for us. And someone might talk about collapsing timelines in a totally other way, but they
Yeah.
speak, oh, that's what they were talking about. Yeah, oh, that I get that now,
Yeah.
and we're able to put it all together. So yeah, it's very
Yeah.
special.
Words are limiting.
They
So
are.
we only have access to the words we have to
Yeah,
explain thoughts, ideas, processes that are not commonplace.
absolutely. And there's words in
So
some languages and concepts that don't actually exist in other
is
languages,
it right?
right? And so we are still missing deeper concepts of feelings and knowings that are like encapsulated maybe over here and not over here. And so yeah, I mean, super dream. I would love in a few years for us to be able to also have other languages somehow represented in here because there's got to be so many interesting spirit practices that I
Yeah.
simply haven't been made aware of from lack of like internet or information sharing or translation. Mirror
Yeah.
conversation. So yeah, that would be so cool.
So there's a tip or little trick. As shamanic practitioners, we always talk about staying out of duality, right? And I get so much pushback from people. They're like, what? I can't have opinions? I can't have opinions on things? I said, of course, everyone should have opinions, but don't let it slide into judgment.
Yeah.
And the trick is opinions don't have emotion attached to it. Judgment does. So if you see someone and you're like, what are they talking? Like, you can go, oh, that's not my path. That's not what I'm choosing to do. Or you can go, what are they talking about? They're crazy. Well, that's what you should look at.
Absolutely. When you have an
Yeah.
emotion wrestling that is
Yeah.
any kind of way, even excitement, even the positive
Yeah.
emotion, right? Is because there's also something, well, what's so exciting about that? Like, actually, let's break it
Yeah.
down a little. Neutralizing things helps us a lot, I think, on a
Right.
spiritual. That's
Like,
something
yeah,
with
I
skeptics.
always tell people, I'm sorry.
No, no, go.
I always tell people when I explain duality, like if you say this day sucks, right? You immediately feel it in your body, or this day's gonna suck. The other day it was gray here. And my original response was, oh, what a crappy day. And I caught myself because I love gray days. I love rainy days. But it was like almost like a societal
Mm,
thing. And I went, wait, and I caught myself and I went, no, this is a beautiful day. Because if I would have stayed with a crappy day, that's the energy I would have put myself in too.
exactly.
And then it would have been crappy. Actually, it was a great day because it was a beautiful day.
Yeah. I,
Um,
I always celebrate when it's like a gray day because actually I love that when things get a bit more muted feeling. I
mhm.
like when it sort of feels like sometimes I can be somewhat light sensitive having some migrainey symptoms. And so
Yeah.
when the sun is bleeding down, like day after day, actually that can kind of feel intense. And it's sometimes a nice little break to have a bit more of a gray
Yeah.
day where it's cleansing, to have the wind move through me. And my friends all like joke because they like complaining that it's cold. I'm like, well, we need this. We need the
Mm.
refreshment, right? And they're like, refreshment, right? Thanks, Kate.
It's a cleansing. Yeah, that's
It
it.
is. It is cleansing, and it feels that way.
Mhm.
Like I feel like sometimes when the air is stuck for a bit, I need a breeze to like move through me because I'm used
Mhm.
to dealing with, weather in some kind of way, relating to it in some kind of way. And so we're missing out an opportunity to have a relationship with like our earth if we
Yeah.
sort of just dismiss and ignore all of its. That's like saying that you're friends with someone, but never when they're sad.
Yeah. Right.
So
Yeah.
rude.
I don't want to be around you right now.
Yeah, which, might be true, but you still choose to show care.
Right.
Don't just dismiss someone just because that might be, it might not feel easy to feel around, like be around someone when they feel sad. But it's like a
Yeah.
true friendship when you actually know you can and you can actually be, and that's a loving relationship, I think, really, is to allow for these uncomfortable emotions on either sides as well. Because maybe a lot of people do pacify a lot of their lives just thinking, oh, let's just soothe it all and let's just, patch it up instead
Yeah.
of what's underneath that? What's even causing the wound in the first place, right?
Mm. Yeah, when I was doing one of my, I think it was the empath deck, a friend had loaned me her art studio because she was in the process of moving out. So I would go there and then I would put all the drawings all up on the wall so I could see how they looked, if they were and one time a friend and her daughters came in and they're like, "Oh, I love that one and I love that one." And I said, "Which ones don't you like?" And they looked at me like, "Oh, you want to?" They're like, "Well, like that one doesn't make me feel good, and that one." So we talked about it, and I'm like, "Oh, does this and this and this happen to you?" They're like, "Yes." How did you know? It's like because that card makes you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. And
And it's we started out talking about not liking to feel uncomfortable.
yes. And
Yeah.
both of us, it's funny. I mean, there's a reason that I've obviously been so drawn to your work because I also worked with empaths for a number of years, and
Mhm.
shadow work was a big part of that intuition development program. Because a lot of people who do their spiritual work actually can forget that there's a lot of value in the discomfort that we feel in things.
Mhm.
And so you're talking about these, more shadowy emotions that kind of get brought out. Oh, I don't know. And we're so used to, like, your friends would not want to show that they were
Right.
not liking some of them. They're like, we don't talk about that. Actually, let's talk
Right.
that for a second. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it a little bit.
Yeah.
And how much more healing is there? How much more light is there from actually facing the depths? And yeah, I was just sharing to you because I've been visited a lot by sea animals in my spiritual
Yeah.
practices, and was recently in the belly of a whale, experiencing a deep, deep peace and solitude. I felt like I could sit there and write books. I felt like I could be in just who I'm meant to be. And I was sitting on a simple wooden chair in the belly of a
Mhm.
whale. Nothing else was going on. Nothing else was there. Nothing else was needed actually. And that that quietness was something that I went, oh, it's actually become a little unfamiliar to me, that level of just
Yeah.
letting things be like, whew, just me in there, just me in my own little space. And I find our social media world can feel very like reactive
Mhm.
and quite hyper judgmental. And so I would also invite that anyone who feels that kind of hostility or volatility coming up for protecting the light might also look at what is going on in them that is also still feeling that sense of like unrest or upset. There are things that I believe we need to be rageful about, and
Yep.
that I really do believe in that. I'm creating a whole Sacred Rage art series next year. I'm really excited. I will share it with you, Michelle, when I
Okay.
when I do it, because I'm very excited for it. It feels like it brings something out of all of those emotions that are within us, right? Like that it
Mhm.
is going to allow me to cathartically face and be with them. And that would be the invite that I would have to people, is to like look for whatever is still stirring within you, is saying something about something within you. Like it's not there for nothing. It's not there for no.
Yeah.
And those shadows are so valuable, because maybe that emotion that you're feeling is actually out there to protect people, but you need to face what's dysregulating you to be the person who can create that change. Like
Right.
often we're not actually able to do much good work in the world. So there's that transition of like facing what is still with you when you are in the belly of the whale. Like you said
Right.
about the Wi-Fi. Okay, well, why is that so uncomfortable? Why is that bringing up this emotion of like, even, I don't know, did you feel like panic or something in that? Like, did you feel
I,
more?
I was mad. I was angry because I wasn't able to get my stuff done. And I keep myself so busy.
Yeah,
I was an apprentice with a shaman here a few years ago, and she said, I hadn't been in touch with her for a while. She's like, I was touch base with you energetically. And she goes, your energy is a combination of Mother Earth, Norma Ray, and the Energizer Bunny.
yeah, I see that.
And and I went, oh, okay. But I do keep myself so busy. I like getting stuff done, but I need to look at that, because is that where I put my self-worth?
Mhm.
Getting stuff done. And I was angry.
Yeah,
But also when you're so busy, you don't have to look at things.
yeah,
You don't
yeah,
have time. You don't have the mind time. You don't have the capacity.
absolutely. Yeah, it can very quickly go from productive fulfillment
Yeah.
to numbing overwhelm, you know?
Yes. And
And
I was in the numbing overwhelm because the trajectory of my life since January has been
oh yeah.
such that I just, going forward, doing whatever I need to do. Yeah, I'll do more. Yep, I'll do more. Of course, I'll do that. Of course, yes, please. And then I hit a wall.
Yeah.
And I was given the opportunity, amazingly, to get out of that.
Mhm. Yeah. And there usually is a way out of it, but when we're in it, it is so difficult to
Yeah.
feel, accept, and to be comfortable with. And it's part of like how we grow in cycles. So I would hate for people to think that you're supposed to reach a point where you're absolutely
Right.
affects you in any way, because
Oh,
you're
it's no, it's the listening to the whispers before the 2x4 comes out.
exactly.
Yeah.
It gets softer, it gets easier, and it makes more sense as we go. Sometimes things can be like, oh, this is disagreeable, but it all makes sense.
Yes.
Right? Like this all tracks. Somehow that makes sense to me. And so it's not just like evading us and we don't understand and we're like, why
Mhm.
is this happening? That's very much of like the despair and anguish voice that many people feel on these journeys. But I think that's like an earlier on thing that does shift out over time. You don't feel as much despair or anguish when things happen. You're sort of like, yeah, okay,
Okay.
you got some more?
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, wow. And I just said to my good friend today, I said, I just can't wait to see what's around the corner for us here. And that was just saying
Mm.
something's not quite here because we're feeling a missing something that
Mm-hmm.
is so we just got to wait for the earth to catch up to us, and we're maybe rushing the process because there's something disagreeable, something is, if it's not this, then it's better. There's something good coming around the corner,
Yeah.
like always. And
Yeah.
I always think of like the Wheel of Fortune and tarot, this sort of up and down, and just being gracious as, okay, we're here right now. That's all right. It's going to be noon again soon. And then,
Yeah.
back.
You
Yeah.
know, talking about the beginning of my spiritual journey, I was going to shaman classes, and the collective vibration there was so high that when we'd leave, things would start to drop off.
Yeah.
But then also when you leave, you can't hold that vibration, especially early on for long periods of time. And then it would go back down because I hadn't gotten rid of the way I thought or beliefs that I had. And for years, I felt like I was broken.
Hmm. Like you're doing it
And
wrong or
yeah,
something.
yeah. Or I am beyond, I can only feel this way when I'm around these people. But now I think the trick is knowing that that vibration or that energy is there for you all the time, and
Mhm.
how to get it on your own,
I love it.
how to step into it on your own.
Yeah. And the only way I think I've found for myself right now, knowing that there's also many levels
Mhm.
of higher vibration, that this is what I feel is sort of like you reach a new kind of status quo and then you go, whoa, now I'm stable and things feel pretty
Yeah.
easy here. I actually think there's more. So then you dip into that
Yeah.
discomfort. Where is that? Where is that next little bit? Right. And so
Yeah.
that then becomes a choice and an invitation for ourselves to say, I choose this life. I actually say, I don't
Mhm.
want an easy life, but I like when things feel like they're working easefully, like that it can somehow
Yeah.
all feels magic. But I'm not looking for easy mode or something to just like turn me down and settle me down. And that's not actually interesting to me. Uh,
No. No.
we're here, and then maybe just be a personality type. I just like no shade for people who do want that also. Like that is some people's highest vibration. I really do believe that, you
And
know?
I think some souls come in here, it's kind of like, I'm going to have a vacation lifetime.
Yeah, and that works for them. And I actually like I see some people and I'm like, cheers, it's working for
Yep.
you. It
Yep.
is. I know that's not working for me if I'm trying that. So you
Right.
don't, right? And so then I accept if that's one of my lives, this is what I got, then I'm actually one of these people who's maybe I'm circling upwards eventually, right? We
Yeah.
can and it gets to be a bit more like, whoa, now we know what's coming and it's kind of fun. It's like the 10th time you've ridden a roller coaster and you're just laughing about it with your friend compared to the first time where you're gripping the poles going,
Right.
what's going to happen? I have no idea. I didn't even watch it from the stands or from the line. Sometimes you can't see the roller coaster when you're in the line for it, and it builds
Right.
anticipation. Yeah. So I like this. I like this idea that it's really about what is going on inside someone and choosing like what is actually going to work for us. And that's a
Hmm.
bit picking and choosing over time because I'll have a unique blueprint of what puts me in my highest vibration, what feels best for me, and it'll be totally unique to yours. And yet so much of what we say and practice is probably shared as well. So
Right.
it's
The Venn diagram.
yeah,
Yeah.
we have a lot of close Venn diagram kind of. There's a lot stuck in that middle space,
Yeah.
just from the empaths and finding shadow work interesting and finding shamanic healing so meaningful for both of our lives. And yeah, just even both being attracted to OracleFest. The chances of anyone even finding OracleFest and being attracted to it as attendee or as speaker is so rare
Mhm.
because what a big world of so much information. And so it's something to celebrate, I think. That's a
It's the vibration. Vibration attracts same vibration.
too, I'm sure sometimes that might be what people
Mhm.
think. Maybe sometimes it does feel like an attack. I think there are
No, not attract.
yeah,
Attract.
no, I actually, but I think some
Oh,
no, I'm so sorry. I heard you, but then I thought actually sometimes I think it does feel like an attack to people when they're exposed around a high vibration, and that was
yeah.
we were talking about earlier. Sometimes we can
Yeah.
have a weird feeling about someone who seems, oh, that's too good to be true. Well, if you ask yourself, is that too good to be true, and yet it's true for that person, maybe there's some truth in between there that actually needs to be looked at by you. That life doesn't have to be also as hard as you're making it, or
Right.
as tough as you're making it. Yeah, my parents sometimes will say like I'm so lucky or things happen easily, or I go, not feel lucky.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I remember realizing early on, because sometimes people, they either really like me or they really don't like me. And it's the vibration. So when they get into vibration, it either their vibration melds or and maybe comes up, or it like hits them and
Uh-huh.
they're like, I don't know what it is, but I do not like her because the vibrations just can't sync up.
Yeah. Yep. And they don't have to actually. And
No,
important
I
for
don't
people
care.
to get disgruntled and ruffled in some kind of way, because
Right.
again, like, so that person could meet you and say, maybe it's two people who love doing healing work, for example, and you think, oh well, they got to vibe together and know each,
Right.
but we have
Yeah.
different paths, right? And others, we're meant to be in drastically different circles for whatever reason.
Mhm.
I like the idea that so many people feel like they want to be a part of my circle. That's amazing. And also, it's not realistic to think that every single
Yeah.
person will, but it's like if you meet someone, they might have healing work that they're meant to do in some direction that is so oppositional to some direction that you're going in. It helps them
Mhm.
feel more charged in whatever they're about to do away from you. you know,
Yeah.
and then you as well can feel like, okay, I feel a bit more resilient. That makes me feel okay, a little bit stronger. And it's so great I have supportive people in my life who really are on the same page as me. And then you hold those people closer and it brings you these like deeper connections just because
Hmm.
full one, one moment shows up of conflict. So there's like nothing to be scared at with conflict because it's always bringing someone closer to some feeling that is true and real for them. I really do think. But yet again, we get so scared of these uncomfortable emotions.
Right. And we act as mirrors to people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
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 So,
And I mean, that's the same in dreams and it's the same in reality, right?
yeah.
Is dreaming is really so much closer to our reality than we give it credit for because so many interesting things can happen. I think you can collapse a timeline in a dream and suddenly see some super high vibrational version of your life. And that's when we get these like, wow, that was such an amazing. I wish I could be on stage singing with, I had who was
Yeah.
it? It was OracleFest speaker Arlene Porter, and she was talking about how she had. Hopefully, Arlene is fine with me sharing this. I'm sure she will be. But she had a dream that she was like playing music with Coldplay or writing music with Coldplay, and she was like, "I could see that happening, and that was awesome." For whatever feeling we're meant to be brought to, that's a super high vibrational version of yourself to witness.
Yep.
Because she was like, "How did I get there?" And she could just tell she was so lit up by the being in the dream of it
Right.
as I want to leave with like one thought on this, and then anything else you want to add, Michelle, feel free because I feel like we're just wrapping into. We could
Mhm.
say if not, but I had this realization recently of this like discomfort and how sometimes I actually maybe when we're having imposter syndrome or a little bit scared about the success part of life going well, if we're used to life not feeling like it's going well
Mhm.
or certain things just always feeling like a struggle, getting used to that feeling of what if it just wasn't like that anymore? What if this is, it's not like forcing your mind to go into some make believe place. It's actually just a couple steps over into that highest alignment. But we might be so not comfortable there that we don't know if we can trust it. And it's like that trust and choosing to like be in the vibration of it on a nervous system level that usually needs to happen as well. Like we have to somehow it's our beliefs match and our feelings match
Mhm.
and kind of get comfortable with it. So I've recently been seeing myself going to Costa Rica in the winter and then going, I'm not sure how I'm going to do that or where I'm going to stay or what that's going to look like at all. Nor have I really
Yeah.
felt super pushed like I have to figure that out instantly. But it clicked in the other day that I was just starting to think about it as what if there weren't any problems and I just really enjoyed it and that would be a really nice thought instead of how am I going to figure this out? How is it going to happen? And then all
Yeah.
opportunities, just like you say, all these people start showing up. Oh, I was thinking
Mhm.
about this. Hey, you mentioned Costa Rica like a month ago. Now I'm thinking this.
Yeah.
Okay, now we can kind of piece it all together so much easier. So it can be that simple as like simply dropping what we thought was comfortable.
It it is that simple. It's the vibration isn't how am I going to make this happen? That's not your job,
Hmm.
right? Your job is to embody, say, so we'll take your example of Costa Rica. I want to be in Costa Rica in the winter. What is that going to feel like? It's going to feel free, it's going to feel warm, it's going to feel whatever it feels to you. Do things that make you feel that. because then that becomes your vibration, and then the other things will fall into place.
Absolutely. And we wait for the universe to catch up to the frequency
Yeah,
shift that already happened. And actually, that gets faster and faster every time. How exciting.
right. Yeah. No, I love this. The quantum physics that I know absolutely nothing about.
I know this much about, but I
Yeah.
got on a date with a quantum physicist earlier in this year, right
Yeah.
after class, that blew my mind because I was like, wow, we are kind of talking the same, but with really different language.
It's different words.
Yeah, it is.
It's just different words.
Yeah,
I agree.
love it. Well, quantum physics, dreams, we've gone through the
Mm,
gamut of many subjects today, but that is to be expected and delightfully so.
mm,
It's been a pleasure having you here, Michelle, and we will see you at the Transformation Podium on November 1st, as well as the big Oracle Fest in January,
mm.
online, end of January. That'll be our first, birthday technically for Oracle
Yeah.
Fest. Our first big
Well,
event again.
thank you, Kate, for having me. It was great being here. I'm always amazed at the tangents we go on, but they always kind of circle back.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I really enjoy this sort of circular, more informal
Mm,
way. I actually do think so many more golden nuggets come out this way when we just let it be a bit more
yeah.
free. And yeah, I would love to know in the comments below actually what people are taking away from this as well. It's just nice to say hi if you're quietly watching in the scenes, and hopefully we'll see you out at Transformation Podium or Trusting Your Visions or any of the things upcoming the next couple months as we lead into big Oracle Fest end of January.
Well, I look forward to seeing everyone in November.
Yeah. Okay. Well, me too.